That was encouraging, Gerson. So I'm going to share a couple of verses. I was in Job this morning, chapter 9. This one verse particularly. In verse 4, it's interesting, I was actually at Cal Tire on, I think it was Friday. I was there getting a wheel alignment on my car, and I was there. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was sitting there and waiting for my job to be done anyway. This guy came in, and the way that he came in, I could tell that he was really distressed. He just worked 12 hours. Like, he was very vocal, and he was in trouble. He hit a pothole, and I guess he wrecked his tire. And so he's like being pretty loud about it. He's talking to the lady, and he needs help. He wants to get home. He's really tired. And I'm sitting there thinking there in my heart, well, and then I could hear, like, he asked how much it was, and it was going to be like 300 and something, and he had $200 in his bank account. And I'm like, wow. Thinking about, well, maybe I should deal with this. I can help this guy. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of thinking about it. Should I do it? Should I not do it? And then he kind of came in, and then he sat down right beside me. And then I just asked, I was kind of thinking about it, and we were kind of talking a little bit. And then I said to him, do you watch YouTube? He said, yeah, I watch YouTube. He says, I had my own YouTube channel. I'm like, okay. I said, well, I'm part of a local church in Aldergrove, and that was it. He was like, hey, he says, my wife is like a Filipino Catholic, and she doesn't put her stuff on me. I don't put my stuff on her. He says, if I was going to be anything, it would be a Buddhist. I was like, oh, okay. And then he got up, and then he was kind of doing whatever, and then I was texting Brother Dan, see if he could find a tire for this guy, and so we're trying to help him. And then but he didn't want my help, and then he went and he sat down across from me on the other side of the room there. I'm like, wow, okay. And it's interesting, I thought about that. I'm like, I was willing to help this guy, but, as soon as I mentioned the fact that I was part of a local church, that was it for him. And I just want to read verse 4, Job chapter 9, verse 4. It says, God is wise in heart and mighty in strength. And the part of the verse that stood out for me, it says, who has hardened himself against him and prospered? Who has ever hardened himself against the Lord? Decided to say, I'm going to resist you. I'm going to be stubborn with you. I'm going to harden my heart against you. And who has ever prospered? And I thought about Saul, on the way to Damascus, when the Lord encountered him, when the Lord said to him, it's hard for you to kick against the goats. It's hard for you. It's hard for you to kick against me. And, it's interesting in our life, we want, specifically for myself, I know that I want the Lord's blessing in my life. And it's not in the things that I can do. We can do a lot of things. You think about King Saul. You can give all these sacrifices and offerings to the Lord, but what is the Lord concerned about? Is he concerned about all of the good things that I plan in my heart to do for him? Or it's just in obeying his voice? It's being obedient to him. And and that's all that we have to give him, is our obedience. It's our will. If he has my heart, if he has that part of me, then everything else will follow. And I'll just finish in Psalm 19. Some good things there in Psalm 19. We'll start in verse 7. Psalm 19, verse 7. It says, the law of the Lord, it's perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold. Yes, than much fine gold, sweeter also than the honey and the honeycomb. And on my way here in my car, I was thinking about verse 11. Moreover, by them your servant is warned, and in keeping them there is great reward. That's such an amazing thing, I thought about that, Lord. By them your servant is warned, and in keeping them there is great reward. Verse 12, who can understand his errors? Cleanse me from secret faults, and keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless, and I shall be innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer.